Today's video that you put out there, you could have gone further with the little Gianni little skirmish or whatever. But he's like,
what did you want me to do? Include the 2 minutes you harassed him about?
No. But it was because I'm like talking. I'm like, this is a super homozygous of the fire gene, and I'm like, all of a sudden my brain starts wandering because I hear this. I'm like, what am I trying to say? And he's in the background, and he's clueless.
How long did it take you till you flipped out? Is what I know, because me and Jeremy, literally, me and him, I could see in his eyes. He's like, Gianni is really making a mistake right now. Yeah. And I'm thinking it.
I try to tell him, dude. I was because you were videoing me, and I was like, I'm getting like something is distracting me, and I'm kind of like struggling to pull it together. And then I had to clarify it, get out of it, and then I could turn around and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's, whoa.
Is that your impression of Gianni?
No, there's some people.
That's his impression of
everybody. There are people
everybody.
calling him
meat stick,
and Crispy today. Like when I'm doing something, Crispy just like, just starts there and watching me, and I'm like, you're watching me screw hinges on a thing? Well, yeah, I didn't want to get in your way. We only have a million animals that need your attention.
Dude, you're the most important thing in the building.
Wake up.
We can't get in your way, dude. I think.
No, it's like there's all sorts of stuff to do, and all of a sudden he just stops and he's like, oh wow, you're putting like latches on a cage door, and I'm like,
oh, carpentry.
And I'm like, dude, seriously, 7 minutes, and you're like staring at me. Go do something. And then him and Gianni start yakking him. I'm like, oh, look at all this downtime, but I'm looking at all the stuff that needs to be done.
He has a stopwatch, and he pulls.
See,
it
I'm
out.
biting my lip, and I get that means I'm mad.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I don't understand why anyone would just freak out, because like I feel like it would actually do you a lot of good.
Because he had to focus on those hinges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't mess up the hinges.
You know what Kevin did that was really awesome that I begged you not to do? I'm like, hey, before you put monitors in these enclosures, we should film this.
But you can do it.
I wasn't there. I know.
Dude, well, you're home sleeping.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off.
Isn't that what you do? That better not be true. Then we shouldn't have any employees on Monday if that's the case.
Wait, are you here? How do you not know?
I'm working.
You don't watch them when you're here by yourself?
I generally don't think anybody is ever doing anything. That's my version of things.
That's true.
Wait a minute, Rob. Where were you on Monday?
He was in front of the computer.
Out things and working in the office.
So I don't go in the office too much.
So is it like it's like free play upstairs when Jeremy's not there? Apparently.
I don't think that's very smart because I notice everything.
It needs to not be the case because then I get a phone call or when I come back I hear when you're not here. there's too much shit going on. I got people in the office, people in groups, in Dan's room, fucking throwing ninja stars.
Dude, when they get groups of 3. I'm like, dude, get away! I'm like, stop doing that. Kevin hates that.
I got mad on Sunday, and I had to leave. But it's funny because I'm mad, and then what I do is I start getting mad at Jeremy, then to get mad at everybody.
Yes.
So, but I kind of just and I start yelling kind of a little bit, and I'm like, then I wanted to get really nasty because I didn't feel like I was like people were.
Getting it?
Yeah. Or they're all sitting here looking at me like.
Did you point at
And
him? Make eye
no,
contact?
I have to. So I yell at him, and then I leave, and I'm like, yeah, he handles that pretty well. But I'm like, I need to leave because I'm about ready to get really nasty.
Maybe I should cry so he doesn't yell at me. Stop.
You wouldn't make it very
But I go. No. I'm like, I'll go over and work on some rodents and cut some plastic, and then I came back.
By the time he comes back, I'm literally dealing with all of this stuff that he was just yelling at me about. Well, I go and whatever he was yelling at me about, I'm like, okay, well, we need to fix this.
You don't relay the message. Like
I 100% relay the message, but no, not like he did.
You don't use the words he uses?
No.
I feel like using the words he uses might get the point across better.
I hate Reptile Expos.
Yeah, he doesn't like Reptile Expos. So ask him to go to them because we can't even get him to go to the ones we want him to go to.
Super Show.
Yeah, probably not even that one because Kevin's
at some point there isn't going to be a choice.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, here's a plane ticket.
Yep.
Let's go.
Did you know that Jeremy outranks Kevin?
He does.
That's not true at all. I told him I told him like maybe a week and a half ago. I was like, I think we need to update my job title here from nerd manager to nerd manager / Kevin's PR, and he was like, dude, they go hand in hand. That's in the fine print.
Yeah.
I was like,
Who was
oh,
doing your
guess
PR?
you're right.
Who was doing your HR stuff before? Who was like making sure you didn't do crazy shit? Nobody? Were you fucking free reign before this?
Yeah, it's free reign.
Yeah.
I was totally free reign. So Florida is talking about, Florida Fish and Wildlife, basically if they could have their way, if it can live in Florida they want to ban it. Mm-hmm. But tegus are absolutely. U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the feds have absolutely targeted tegus and said that's one of the next injurious invasive. And the sad thing is they do have supportive information with scientific basing that tegus have the ability to live in temperate North America. So that's going to be a much harder one for us to argue. But now in Florida, breeders are still allowed to have their animals. They have to take more stringent guidelines about how they're keeping them. They're outside enclosures and double walls and all that. They cannot sell them to other people in Florida as pets. So they have to export them out of the state. But what's happening is Florida Fish and Game or Fish and Wildlife, whatever it is sliding towards a far stricter policies where essentially Florida years ago was you had a lot of leniency. They still have a fair bit of leniency with mammals, but they're really tightening up the regs on the reptiles. And once again, I'm always saying the sky is falling, and Florida is definitely no joke. And, you don't want to mess with your state's Fish and Game or any of that stuff like that. So if you're keeping stuff that you shouldn't be having, eventually, especially if you're sloppy and all different stuff, eventually it can reflect. It's going to reflect badly on the community, on your state. Might change the laws if you get bagged, if you're keeping something really bad. So it's really good to often try to get permits, or if you are doing something sketchy, shut your face and don't go all over Facebook with it and do stupid things just because you want attention, because you will get nailed.
You think that's the best way to get caught is just putting all over social media?
So first of all, if let's say if I'm let's face it. So if I'm keeping something that I'm not supposed to keep, and this has actually happened to me, where I had friends and I let them know I was keeping some stuff years ago, a long time ago in Massachusetts. I had a screech owl, and I had a kestrel, and I had eastern diamondback rattlesnakes and some stuff like that. Yeah. And so my friends knew that I had them, and so in our herp society, I got into a fight with like the president of the herp society, and there was like an ego. It was like a whole ego thing. So there's people that just dislike me because maybe they want to be the top dog. And so when I'm around, maybe they can't be the top dog. So they, behind my back, went and reported me. And I came home from work, and I had Massachusetts Fish and Game there. And
how old are you then? Was this like before?
This is right before I started Nerd.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So so I know what it's like to actually get get busted. It's unpleasant. I eluded them, and but I don't play games with them. You can't treat them stupidly, because only if you do that, you're only going to make it worse for yourself down the road. So you have to be respectful. They're just doing their job and all that. So I got bagged with the stuff, and my biggest problem was where these animals were going to be home to. So they left me with all the animals, so they knew that I had the animals, and then I did something bad. I went and homed all the animals to places that are allowed to have them, but I wanted to have a choice where they all went.
Did they get pissed about that?
Yes.
What were they going to do with them, though?
They were going to home them and stuff like that, but I was able to show where all of them got home to.
Oh, they probably thought you were...
And it was just because I cared about them, and I loved my animals, so it was more important for me to make sure my animals at the right places. The screech owl was brought to me as a baby, like a little ball of fuzz, and he was imprinted on me, so I had him for Vincent 4 years.
Imprinted bird away to somebody else?
I know. He went to Trailside Museum in Canton, Massachusetts. My kestrel I released. So the kestrel. So what I used to do is I used to do some off the cuff wildlife rehabilitation of raptors. So I have a fair bit of experience with raptors. And raptors go down chimneys, raptors, all this, get hit by cars, all the different stuff. So I was doing this stuff, but I didn't have any permits, because the whole process of permits and stuff like that was beyond probably what I was capable of or whatever. But I was able to help some of these animals. So the kestrel had flown down or fallen down a chimney and was in somebody's fireplace and was starving to death. So I had it for a while. And I got it nice and fat, and it was about time to let them go anyways, because that's generally what I would do. I'd let everything go. The only thing I didn't let go was the screech owl.
Let me ask you something. You get a friend that we don't talk about here a lot that does all the bird stuff?
Oh, Jane Kelly.
Jane Kelly.
She can own anything, right? Can't she do all that? She's got like.
So Jane Kelly, she's a nonprofit rehabilitator for raptors. So when the raptors are federal, migratory birds, so you have to have a federal permit. And there's 2 different types of permits. So if you have rehabilitation of some animal to be rehabilitated and then released back into the wild, that's one type. Then you can also have another type of permit, which is like a state permit, where it's a federal listed animal that has been shot, like its wings blown off, it's got shot in the eye, it's blind, it's missing a foot. And those animals are normally destroyed. And it's insane how many raptors are destroyed, yet alone, mammals. And there are people, we could easily get permits for those where I could get like a great horned owl with 1 wing, and we could exhibit those. And that wouldn't be a rehabilitator's permit. It would just be, an educator's permit with a federal listing. And
is that something you've considered?
Oh yeah, it's something I love raptors. I'm very I have a bit of skill with raptors.
I've seen it. You never, but nobody. So they don't know that though. I've seen you. Do you remember you brought in an owl one time, like Bumblefoot? I think.
Yeah.
Real bad. Where'd you find that?
Somebody brought it to me, and it's amazing. So I remember one time I got this red-tailed hawk. My friend was out jogging in the woods, and he kept on noticing this hawk like sitting down low, and he's telling me about it. And I'm like, oh, that thing's messed up. And so I went to get it, and I saw it, and the thing could like fly, but it was flying and landing and flying and landing. And I chased it down, and I got it, and it was a red-tailed hawk, and it had bumblefoot. And generally, bumblefoot is often attributed to in captivity when we're keeping these animals and we keep them on with perching that's improper, and there's some kind of damage to the underside of the foot. And what they do is they get this fibrous tissue. They can also get an infection there, and it makes it so it's very hard for them to shut their foot. Right. And so it is associated with captivity often. So I got the animal, and then I called Mass Fish and Game and said, hey, I got this bird, and it's got bumblefoot. And I think, so basically they probably thought that, oh, I had the bird for a while, and I gave it bumblefoot.
This is bumblefoot, guys. You can see it on
it's really gnarly, and it really can be debilitating. It prevents these animals from perching. It's really tough. You can excise the wound, but once it gets fibrous and stuff like that, it basically changes the physics of how the bird is shutting its foot. And these raptors have to have this full range of motion when they're actually catching their food. A lot of times they're using the power of their foot. Mm-hmm. It is amazing how the muscles work. It's almost like backwards how they snag things, and they often can't get the food. And, it's amazing the amount of raptors all around us that are dying. If you drive down the highway, certainly in New England right now, just drive down the highway and you'll see dead raptors all along. Stuff, yeah. And so what's happened is because as we've deforested everything in the fields are often now built up for condominiums and great expanses for malls and stuff. So the birds of prey are using these wildlife corridors, which are highway corridors, and they're hunting along these highways. And once they target a vole or a mouse, they focus on that. They got very their vision is suddenly becomes very focused and keen, and when they're going after that rodent, they're so intense. That's all they see is that rodent, and then they're flying across the highway and they get nailed by a car. So these birds are being killed all over the place, and it is very, very sad. And then rodenticides are getting a lot of these raptors too. So you see all these big buildings, go outside of Walmart, see the little black boxes, and they have a rodent bait, and that rodent bait kills mice, chipmunks, squirrels, rats, all the different stuff. So these rodents are ingesting this bait that causes them to act drunk, and they stumble around, and they can't throw up. It's a very nasty death, and they're easy prey for these raptors. And the raptors get these rodents, they ingest it, and then passes to them, and it kills them. And they have to generally, if you can get one of these birds early enough, and if it's not too badly poisoned, they use vitamin K and some of these different things to block it. And basically, but generally the mortality is significant. It's very hard to save one of these birds. Even though you have the bird and you think it's perching and it's doing okay, within a 24-hour period it can decline rapidly. I think it accumulates in the liver, and it's really nasty. It's really sad because rehabilitators are doing things out of the the goodness of their heart, but their heart is being broken constantly.
Yeah.
To love these animals, just like, I wanted to be a vet for a very small period of my life, but I couldn't handle all the mortality and witnessing all these animals dying.
With your dream of having the zoo, is there any space for that kind of stuff, or is that totally just off the table?
What's great about that, we could build outside displays,
Yep.
and basically with raptors, they can stay outside all year long. You just want to prevent things like the wind and getting wet and stuff like that. But I love raptors. Raptors are uniquely intelligent. You can have a really interesting rapport with them. And when you do falconry, I did some falconry. I did novice amateur falconry.
Okay.
I never had a falconer license. You have to go into your apprenticeship. So I was actually, because it's a bird. It's a migratory bird. Right. It's a federal bird. I mean, it's ironic. You can drive down the highway and kill them and poison them and do everything. But if you want to keep one as a pet, I can go shoot a crow, but I can't keep one as a pet. We could sit here and argue. In some states, they're far more lenient that I could keep like a possum or a raccoon. Up here in New England, you really can't keep like anything without getting in trouble, including a songbird. And I can keep an invasive. I can keep a sparrow, an English sparrow. I can keep a starling, which are uniquely intelligent. But I was catching some falcons and hawks, and you take this little cage and you put these little nooses on, and you put a gerbil in there. Then you put it in a field where you see a hawk, and he flies down there. He gets his feet caught in there. I was doing all these little weird things. Sometimes you just catch them and play with them for a couple minutes and let them go. And they want to get you. They will just grab you with their, if you're not using a towel, they will grab you. And the thing is, once they got their claws in you, they have to voluntarily make an effort to actually open their claws, because their claws want to snap shut. It's unbelievable. And then the pressure that an owl or a hawk has on its prey. I mean, they'll kill stuff just by crushing their skulls just with their feet. Maddie B, what snakes are illegal in Massachusetts?
Quite a few.
So your venomous would certainly be illegal. Reticulated pythons are certainly illegal. African rocks, anacondas, probably amethystine pythons. I did know before, like emerald tree boas and green tree pythons, at one point you needed to have a permit on emerald tree boas, but I think they've changed some of that stuff.
A few years ago,
like
6 years ago.
Emeralds and green trees legal,
and chameleons.
Because chameleons were illegal because they didn't think anybody could breed chameleons, and so now chameleons are commonly bred, and obviously there's some amazing chameleon breeders like your visit you just had.
Dude, it takes a year to get those things to hatch.
Yeah,
those panther chameleons.
Well, it takes water monitors a half a year or better.
Yeah. Okay, so why do you think that is? Why do you think a chameleon that's this big can take upwards of a year to hatch versus a water monitor taking 6 months?
Well, I think even six months is that's a really good question. So I did this little test, and so let's say the average temperature of monitors was, I don't remember the exact figures I came up with. Let's say it's 86 degrees, and if I took a water monitor egg and then I incubated it at 90 degrees, I could cause it to hatch in almost a third earlier just by those 4 degrees. But the mortality as they're hatching would go up. So I was playing these little games. So every temperature 1 degree up will shorten the cycle. So I think we probably haven't really figured out chameleons, but I think one thing you can do with chameleons to speed up the process, instead of having like 256 days to hatch, is to keep them at an ambient temperature. It could be 74 degrees, and then all of a sudden you could have 2 weeks of warm, and then you could fluctuate temperatures, which causes something to speed up. I don't really understand the physics of that, and I'm certainly not qualified to fully understand that. I'm aware of these things. I do not understand what the purpose is as far as species survival, because I would figure lay a lot of eggs and hatch as soon as possible. But they do lay a lot of eggs, and a panther chameleon, I believe, could have a clutch of eggs every 90 days. So that would be 4 clutches in a year, and they have pretty significant clutches, and they arrive at maturity rather quick too if you're keeping them well. So they just lay a lot of eggs.
So why have you never gotten into chameleons? Is it just like
I have. I used to breed chameleon, like Camellia calitratus, which is veil chameleon. So years ago, veil chameleons were a good species to breed. So I would set up an adult and a 20 long, and I figured it all out. My process was every 90 days, my females were laying eggs. I actually bred a panther chameleon to a veil chameleon, and we hatched the cross, but they were deformed. They had like a thing on the front of their nose. But I was able to actually breed the two together. I bred a bearded dragon to a frilled dragon, and I got fertile eggs. And I was incubating those over at Old Nerd, and they were up high, and my ambient, one of my iguanas that lived free, knocked the entire clutch over. And I went in the eggs, and you could see like a developing little lizard. I don't know what it would have been. But, I did like strange things.
Do you know we do co-handling now?
Donny goes and sets up an anaconda, like how he thinks an anaconda. And I'm like, just dude, you set it up, whatever. And he's like, well, I've looked a little bit online and whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I go, you go do it. I'm not going to say anything. Then he brings me in after. Yeah. And we did a video today on that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, definitely check that out. You can learn a lot from me, guys. I've watched a couple snake discovery videos. I know what I'm doing. So, yeah, and Kevin reamed me out a lot.
Yeah.
You know what's a really cool thing we can do now, Kevin, which is great. Check this out. This is new technology that Donnie's kind of introducing to the stream. So now we can do really cool stuff. Like I can show you the creepy messages I get about you, and I think it would make good content.
He's not thrilled. He's not thrilled. Are we not going to look at DMs?
You want to look at some I mean, I didn't preview any. Look, he's getting all weird about it.
Let's look at some of Donnie's DMs.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Well, yeah. Let's do that.
Mean as fuck to people when they ask me questions about.
Now, does that stand for dick magnet?
Dick magnet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might.
You're gonna offend me with that?
All right. So the story is we have an employee. She's a part-time employee. Her name is Jonna, and Jonna loves animals. And so what she did, she got involved in some cat rescue, and the cat rescue lady was basically posting something somewhere. Some of this is a little bit anecdotal, but she said that she has this mother cat and some kittens or various age cats from the mother cat. It needs to get them from point A, which is her place, to another place for shelter so they can all get rehomed. And Jonna decided that, hey, I can come by and pick up the cats and bring them. So she goes to this woman's house, gets the cat. I think it was like a couple carriers, and she's driving, and then she encounters a whole bunch of traffic. She forgets to bring her phone charger, and her phone dies. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm sitting in traffic. I know I got to get to this place, but I want to go home, get my phone charger because I don't want to sit in this traffic.
And she didn't have the GPS on her phone was getting her to the other place, so she couldn't get to the other place without her phone charger.
Yes, that's a very important fact.
Go get her.
And so she goes home, and she then gets some power to her phone, and in the interim for her just being off the grid for a little while with her phone being off because her phone died. She starts getting all this, where are you, crazy hate, like you stole the cats, you horrible person. So what they did is they went and investigated Jonna, and they saw that Jonna does taxidermy. She does like little weird, there's people that are into like she could find like a dead bird on the side road, beetles
and stuff too. She does all sorts of crafts.
Yeah, she does all sorts of crafts, but sometimes they involve like little dead animals that she finds. She does not kill animals or anything like that, but she does these little weird things. Well, they see this, they decided that she has stolen the cats, and she's going to sell the cat body parts and all this different stuff. Then they see that she works at Zoo Creatures. And then we start getting the phone calls. And
what were they like? Did you listen?
Horrible people.
We're gonna come there and kill everyone who works there.
Yeah.
We were gonna find where you live. Whoa. You are employing a murderer.
Yeah, you support cat animal harvesting, and we're like, what is going? We didn't have a clue what's going on. So Jonna is at home
because I would have been like, man, that's just promotion at its best.
So Jonna is now stuck at home where she's like, oh my God, I'm getting like immediate death threats. So the crazy cat lady unleashed the public on her Facebook. They see where she lives, They go crazy. They're going.
Address, her
Well, they
phone
doxed her?
number. They posted everything on their Facebook page, on the business page for this.
So the crazy cat lady. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna call the crazy cat lady. This bitch would not answer my calls. Wouldn't answer my messages. And so what she did was she created this giant public outcry. Someone stole my cats. And she collects donations. Yeah. So she got everybody like from Australia, New Zealand, and everybody attacking us, attacking Jonna, attacking us, annihilating our Facebook, giving us horrible ratings. New England Reptile, Zoo Creatures, everything, saying that we're stealing cats and all this different stuff. She wouldn't respond to me. I tried to be reasonable. I tried calling the police. Oh yeah. And the police sucked.
You got the cops over? It must have been that bad.
No, the police went to her house. They went to her house. They handcuffed her. And because they...
her animals too.
Did they?
You
actually got her in trouble for this shit?
No, I didn't get her in trouble.
No.
The cops.
The cat place said that she was stealing animals. So until they sorted everything out, they arrested her. They took her cats that she owned, because she has cats. She loves cats.
Oh my god.
So they took her cats. They took her other animals. They took the cats that were supposed to be delivered from the other place.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, even though the cat rescue knew that she was not killing the cats and that they were recovered, they left up the post for another 2 days.
It was...
so that people could harass her and so that they could take donations for it.
So we were getting... this horrible, so we're getting horrible hatred. So we had to take down both our Facebook pages.
Yeah,
really?
Because worst thing is if I want to fight somebody, and I want to fight now because I want to protect Jonna, but I can't fight somebody that won't even answer me and whatever. So we went through this. She was horrified. The police were nasty. They were nasty. They shouldn't have been able to do what they did. I tried calling them. I tried talking to the sergeant. I was like amazing. Like this little podunk town had the worst police response. They immediately victimized her. We were trying to get some kind of recourse. They were horrible. So a lot of lies and it was really, really nasty. She had to go to court, and really there was she never got any kind of satisfaction. And this crazy cat lady is a fucking scumbag. Yeah, and I love cats, but she's a fucking scumbag because she played the whole social media thing. She got money. She's a liar. Then we got picked up by Turtle Man in Massachusetts, and the Turtle Man did like the whole thing saying how we were being attacked. And I reached out to him and I did like the little interview, told him my side of the story and what happened and all that. And he was able to they were able to make sense of it. But it is so what it is basically it's mob mentality, and it is horrific how just providing some of the information with a bunch of fiction can create a mass of hysteria and a bunch of mob mental people. They went after her boyfriend. She lost her Facebook. People were coming to her house doing weird stuff, and she loves animals. She would never do anything to an animal like that.
You want to look at some cool stuff I just found?
Yes, yes.
Kevin, so hey, you know who this one is, right?
Yes.
No.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
So we've all been experiencing this awesome one of your fans named Logically Spoken.
Oh.
Shout out to you, super fan, girl loves you. We're not gonna really look at this, but she's very concerned about you.
Electrocuting yourself.
Electrocuted. To the fact where she threatened me.
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, but
Logically.
Yeah, but listen to this.
Wait, there's more.
I did get that.
She's been messaging you for I don't know how long, but you never answered any of these messages.
Oh my god.
He doesn't read any of his messages.
So bad.
Just so everybody knows, I'm not ghosting you. I just don't read these
What
messages. What is that?
I don't know.
She was just showing a really cute agama with this no hard feelings.
So she's not happy with me.
But I don't want these people to think that I'm like some snot,
Well,
and I'm
you
not.
are, 'cause you don't answer.
No, I'm
any
not
people.
doing. I'm not. I just don't even. It's horrible because
Dude, are you supposed to answer all these people seriously? No, you can't.
I
So
can't.
many
I got.
messages, it's not even possible to respond to all of them.
All right, but I'm not.
It's hard
I'm
enough
not
to keep
purposely, I'm not purposely doing that, dude. I made the mistake of looking a while ago. I looked at some messages and there was this I thought like an attractive girl kind of like saying some stuff to me. What?
Show it.
No.
Okay.
And
I know how to not.
and got like angry with me, like, and I was like, wow, that's really. I never even saw your messages, but because I didn't respond, she then thought I was ghosting her, and then she got like mad at me, and then basically shit talking me and made me feel like I was a douche.
No, you know what? Most of the messages that I get, ironically, are the messages that either are from people that he doesn't respond to, or are people who have talked to you but want to plan something with him or coming here, and then they inevitably would always just get sent to me. So then I'm like, well, let me check this schedule and blah, 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 and I'll get back to you in the next day or two.
Do you know who almost didn't visit us because Kevin wasn't communicating super well recently? Clint, did you know? Remember I was like, is it all good with Clint? Guess what? It wasn't.
I watched 2 of Clint's videos today.
What do you...
The False Chameleon, and then I watched Black Widows.
Okay.
And, yeah.
That doesn't mean he was... But you do realize he almost didn't come and thought you were ghosting him again, right? Kevin, what the fuck?
Fuck no.
You told me dates, and then I find out he's like, he never said if you could do it or not. But so you didn't buy the tickets? He's like, no.
So it's not happening?
No, he's coming. He's coming.
Because I took care of it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah, the Gotham thing, we started filming at like 5 o'clock. It was in New Jersey. It was a big airplane hangar, and I had brought like 3 reticulated pythons. And we had
inside?
Yeah, they build the whole set right to all of a sudden they roll out grass. They build the carnival inside, like there was a concrete floor, and they build it right there. And the snakes, we had to have them crawl across the grass and just keep doing it. Then had to have a snake crawl up the hay bales. Yep. So if anybody's seen this episode of Gotham, basically they're looking for this escaped python, and she's a snake charmer, and the snake seeks her out. She's been killed by somebody, and they're looking where she is, and they basically locate the snake, and they find the snake. The snake loves her, and the snake was wrapped around her, and that was...
Here it is.
Is this copywritten? Are you going to get busted for this?
I don't know, I'm going to cut it up anyways. I don't care. This is the scene, everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We're not going to go crazy into it. Let's get to the part, because I don't... Yeah, that's...
That was a smaller retic in that cage.
Where is it?
Yeah.
It's in a cage?
That was a smaller retic.
But I understand why they did it, though.
Oh, this getting her to crawl straight across. But they're watching. Yeah, they're watching the snake.
That's Deadpool's girlfriend. If anybody didn't know that, never mind.
Yeah, I saw her, met her. She's hot.
Oh my God.
She was eating in the next table over from me, and I was just like, yeah. Well, she's also in Homeland.
Ungettable.
She's the wife in Homeland. Yeah. Oh, so getting the snake to crawl up.
I can only imagine. Did you actually have to like pick her up?
No, we just kept on putting there, and she crawled up and
started doing
then get it to wrap around her and stuff. And this is like, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So I was hiding beneath the hay bales.
Were you really?
Oh yeah.
That was where you.
Oh yeah, they were all right there, right in front of me. Everybody was doing all this. I'm hiding to the right behind this hay bale. Don't forget to do a super kindness to someone today, and don't forget to have a shitbag day.
Yeah.
You don't see that on Brian Marchek's new live stream, do you?